There we go. Now, the reason I always ask that is because the little thumbnails that you get on these videos, if I'm talking when I hit record, then it gives a picture of me. And I don't want a picture of me. I want a picture of you. So good morning, kids. Welcome to today's episode of the Kong Family Show. We're so excited today. We get to meet with Shelley Lush-Smolders. And Shelley, I didn't actually look close enough to see where you're coming to us from. Where are you?
I'm coming from Nova Scotia, Canada.
Oh, okay.
On the east
Awesome.
coast.
Yeah, so you're way over, you're 3 hours away from us, so you're even further east than the Eastern time zone, because the Eastern time zone is only 2 hours ahead of us. And so, well, man, I'm sure excited to have you here with us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and visit with us. And I know that the family is going to be very interested to hear your story. I know I definitely am. And so I figure, hey, let's just go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to ask you a question that is always my first question to every guest that comes on this show, because quite frankly, this is really what I'm most interested in. And I think that is probably the most powerful aspect of this show. And that is how, when, and why did you decide to get involved with Kong's Water? And were you a skeptic like I was?
Okay, so first of all, hi everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share my experiences, I suppose. How did I get here? So I don't want to get emotional, okay? So if I do, we'll just wipe away the tears and we'll grin and bear it. So at the end of the day, so again, yeah, my name is Shelley. I am a nurse by trade. I recently had some major changes happening in my life, some good and some not so good, like all of us, right? Both of my parents, who are at about the 65 age range group, both were diagnosed with cancer at the same time, basically, within just a few months apart. And then, you know, we were faced with surgery, chemotherapy. My poor father, I almost lost him on the table. Emergency trach had to happen, and, you know, Western medicine kicked in. At that time, I knew nothing about Kangen water. So they didn't get the opportunity to reap those benefits. Both of my parents today have a clean bill of health, thanks be to God. Again, gratitude. And I've introduced them to the Kangen water, and we're hoping, again, to, as Kangen describes, back to origin and homeostasis, so that, you know, so they can continue and have a long longevity. They got lots of grandchildren and their own children to enjoy. So that's one of my biggest reasons for being here. As well, 3-4 months ago, I guess it was, we relocated our family from rural Newfoundland, Canada. Okay, so remote of the remotest, and that was more for work-life balance. My husband is an airline pilot with WestJet, based out of Toronto, Canada, and our work-life balance was terrible. He, you know, at the end of the day, he's gone, but he was gone way more because we were so remote. So fortunately, we sold our home, and here we ended up in Nova Scotia. And at that time, of course, I gave up my job and came to Nova Scotia thinking, well, I'm a nurse. Jobs are a dime a dozen, right? Yeah, well, my job search didn't turn out so great. And most of my experience, I guess, well, I've been a nurse for 20 years. I have lots of clinical experience. And ironically enough, that's with cancer patients. I work in a chemotherapy unit. That's all I know. That's what I've worked. But I've also have management experience, which I gave up. I gave up my 6-figure job. We moved to Nova Scotia in hopes that I'd get another job. Well, guess what? I did. I got another management job. I lasted 8 weeks. And I said, I can no longer do this. You know, the work-life balance was not working for me. It was working for my husband, but not for me. And again, I think, you know, but looking back, it was about timing. And I came across an ad on my Facebook where we spend a lot of our time, right? And I came across Kangen water and the opportunity to share this with the world. Like, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. Again, as a nurse, but my job is to help people. That's what I do. You know, that's what we do as health professionals. We want to help. And Kangen water, for me, in the last 3 months, realistically, I've been drinking this water faithfully for 3 months. I sleep better. Thank God I don't have any major chronic ailments leading up to this, but I sleep better. I've lost weight. I look better. That's what people are telling me. How about, what do you say?
I think you
I don't have anything to compare it to, right? So, you know, I feel better. I have more energy. My outlook just way more positive. You know, my kids feel it. My kids drink it. We've used it for sore throats. We've used it for cuts, scrapes, and bruises, all positive and great, wonderful things. So you know what? It's an investment in our health. It's an investment in our longevity and an investment in our kids. As well, you know, there's other benefits to the Kangen water. Our home has gone completely eco-friendly. So I spend no more money on toxic and harsh chemicals that I need to clean my stove or mop my floor or whatever the case might be. My pets drink it as well. So all around, it's been a wonderful experience. So, and my why, again, is to share this with the world, because I mean, I can't speak for America. I can't speak for Japan or any other country, but if I'm not mistaken, this is an unknown phenomenon in Canada. And this is a movement, I think, that's going to become so great. And the ability to be a part of this, like, man, it's awesome. Right?
Yes.
But I guess my biggest thing is that I want to be able to help working moms to leverage a business online, making a decent income. You know, don't get me wrong, like, let's be transparent. It takes work. You require work, but you can do it on your time, on your terms. And at the same time, be able to manage a stress-free home, because that's what I've been able to do. And realistically, half the year I'm a single mom. My husband works away. So, you know, that's double duty, right? Yeah. So again, you know, I've been at this for a very short time, and the professional and the personal growth that I've developed since I started this, I have a wonderful team that I work with. We're all here for the same reasons. No judgment, you know. Everybody brings something positive to the table. Everybody has something different. You know, some people are great at sales. Some people are great at marketing. Others are great at, you know, whatever. But we all bring something and we help each other along. So the fact that you're not alone, and, you know, and be able to do this business and at the same time reap the health benefits and the wellness and, you know, the clarity, and like, it's amazing. I have a hard time describing it. But as you can see, I'm passionate about it, and I want others to be passionate about it and to be able to, you know, to be able to experience this water, because, you know, it's just water, like something so basic. But you know what? I had no idea. I had no idea what was coming out of my tap or what's coming out of a bottle. I just drank it because we need to drink it, right? But I've learned so much, and again, to be able to share it with everybody else and, you know, get it out there. Most people don't even know this stuff exists, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
here we are.
That's an interesting thing that you know, when I first heard about this water, I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah, and you asked me, was I skeptical? I was absolutely skeptical, because in my mind, I'm like, I don't even care about the product. Like, if it's going to generate a 6-figure income, bring it on. But you know what? Now that I got the product, it's not about the income at all. You know? And yeah, I was skeptical. It took me 3 months before I finally jumped on board. And you know, I took a leap of faith at the end of the day. God love my husband, who supported me and who backed me on it. And, you know, I'm fortunate that I do have a second income to be able to support that. But with or without him, this is me.
So what happened with you? I know what happened with me that changed my thought process, and ultimately what it came down to was exactly what we're doing right now. It was a story. All the technical data and all that stuff, I wasn't even going to look at that. I wasn't even interested. I'm like, nah, water's water. This is stupid. And I'd just give my buddy Tim a like and move on. I never commented on anything. I never looked at anything or anything. And then one day, this lovely angel, this godsend named Brittany Dykes, she put up her story. And all of a sudden, I decided to hit that see more button for the first time.
Yeah.
And her story woke me up. It literally turned on the old light bulb in my brain cell. See, I only have one brain cell. Everybody else has like trillions of them. I only have one. But that story changed the course of my life. After reading her story and hearing what she was going through, it made me cry. It made me think of my mom. And I had to call my buddy and ask for some information. And so my curiosity is what happened with you? What made you all of a sudden go from skeptic to not skeptic and made you decide that this is something you needed to look closer at or that you needed to get involved with or whatever? What happened there?
So the more I researched the water, the more I learned, and I thought, I want this in my life. Like, I'm an avid gym goer. I'm always looking for the latest and greatest, weight loss fad and how I can feel better, how we can make the kids feel better. I don't even have a family doctor. I don't intend on getting one. I don't think I'm ever going to need one. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed. And again, as a healthcare professional, I was able to understand a lot of the physiology and the dynamics behind it. So it was like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. And realistically, like my top sponsor, is a chiropractor. He's a doctor. And he had a Kangen water machine in his clinic for 5 years. So he was doing water shares with his patients. And Dr. Rob, I hope you don't mind me talking about this, but I'm sure you won't, because again, it's his story. We all have a story, right? And he was sharing this water with his clients for 5 years before he even knew that there was, a whole other side of Kangen water. And it was irrelevant because his reasons for getting into it were to help his clients. And those clients continue to come back, whether they're seeing him for treatment, they're coming back to get their water, right? So he's doing shares with them. So and I was like, a chiropractor? God, if a chiropractor's in on this, Jesus, I gotta get in on this, right? At the end of the day. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. And you're right, and I was skeptical, and I think skeptical in the beginning, probably what turned me off initially was the cost of the machine. It felt at the time, at face value, that it was a little bit of, a steep price to pay. But at the end of the day, when you look into, the benefits of it and, you spend $5,000 to something that's going to enhance your health and, help you, help your family, help your loved ones, help people that are sick, people that are not sick, whatever the case might be, and to create an eco-friendly home, to help the environment as a whole, get away from the bottled water. And, it's a no-brainer. I can go spend $60,000 on a rig that I got to put gas in. I got to put spark plugs in. I've got a, motor vehicle inspection. You spend money on all that kind of stuff. Is it helping me? At the end of the day, is it helping my health? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right? So there's lots of ways to look at it and leverage it, but no regrets. Hands down, I wish I had discovered this 20 years ago, in all honesty. But I can't go backwards, I can only go forward. So, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love it if you would reach out to your doctor, your chiropractor friend, and maybe give him a little nudge, ask him to come on the show, because it would really be helpful to get a chiropractor on here and hear his story, hear why he did it, because quite frankly, every chiropractor needs it. I mean, I've seen videos online of chiropractors. There's one here locally that uses it, and he said it absolutely exploded his business, his chiropractic business, because he doesn't spend any money on advertising or anything like that anymore. He's absolutely loaded with patients all the time because they're all coming in to get the water.
Yep.
And so it's been a really powerful business tool for him. And quite frankly, it's something that they all should be using. But let's face it, the whole skepticism thing, it's probably a good thing to be a skeptic, but
Sure it
not
is.
to the
You gotta
point
have
where
some.
you're ignoring the truth, and not willing to look.
Yeah.
And so you found out that your chiropractor was using Kangen water, and then you decided to start doing some research. What kind of stuff what did you come across that turned your light bulb on?
Well, again, I mean, the health benefits, right? If you can bring your body to homeostasis, and help, I guess, from a preventative perspective, right? When you get your body from the inside out as healthy as possible, that it gives us a better fighting chance. I'm not saying that no, you could potentially need medication at some point. Yes, I get that, but we live in such a, we call it healthcare. I call it disease care. You don't go to the hospital because you're healthy, right? We're always proactive. Or no, sorry, we need to be more proactive. We're always in healthcare. We're always in crisis mode, right? And it gets is to the point, well, it's too late. Oh, had I known about this or had I known about that, I would have tried this or I would have tried that. Antioxidants, right? People are like shoving blueberries down their throat because it's an antioxidant, right? Carrots, veggies, all the good things that we want, and they all come with a price, and they all come with, the labels say they're organic. Are they truly organic? So even if they're not, at the end of the day, if you've got the water machine and you can clean your veggies and get rid of the pesticides and the sprays and all the things that are no good for us, it's a no-brainer, right? Right. It's a starting point, and it just leads to everything greater, right? My mother's a firm believer. Always said it. I can hear her saying it right now. All this disease and illness, we never had none of that back in the day, right? I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but probably because we weren't as educated as we are today either. She always said, I believe it's in the air, it's in the water we're drinking, it's in the food we're eating.
Yeah, so
right?
Isn't that the truth? And I when you reached out to come on the show, thank you so much, by the way, for reaching out and saying you'd like to come on the show. It's been a trial trying to run this show 5 days a week or 7 days a week, trying to get people on here, trying to be able to provide value every day. It's been quite the challenge, and it's mostly been me begging people to come on the show versus people reaching out and saying, "Hey, I want to come on." I'm like, "Yeah, hoo-dee-hoo," But the thing about it is that I didn't even know you were a nurse, and whether you like it or not, whether you want this distinction or not, just the fact that you are a nurse is going to give you an elevation in people's minds, because you're in one of those professions that demands a lot of respect from people. And so, it's just like you finding out that your doctor had it, and that's why you all of a sudden got more interested. It's the same thing with you. When people hear your story and hear the things that come out of your mouth about it, that they're going to probably take those with more of a grain of salt than they would if they heard me talking about it. And so my question is, what do you say? Because I know here in the United States, people say that this machine is expensive. Mm-hmm. And I always say, number one, Kong doesn't cost, he pays. Or as my wife says, she says that Kong is a she, not a he. I'm saying you're right with that. I'm good with that. There's male and female gorillas.
Like your wife.
And she says that lady in the box, that's not a man's voice, that's a girl's voice. And I said, you got a good point there, honey. That was a good point. And but anyway, down here in the United States, you want expensive, try a day in the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what I understand, what I've been told down here in the U.S., a day, one night stay in the hospital is going to cost you at least $6,000, if not more. and you know, that's oftentimes even if you have insurance. So you want expensive, try a couple days in the hospital, see how good that is. And so my question to you is, what do you say to that person who is looking at it from the price standpoint? What did you, because you just said a minute ago that you were pretty astounded by that price too in the beginning when you looked at it at face value. But what's your advice to somebody that is looking at it from that standpoint?
Well, I guess, you know what, at the end of the day, you can't put a price on your health, right? So when you have your health, you have wealth. But there's a couple of different avenues that you can look at it, because, if you have the water and it's preventing you from having to take medication and paying for prescriptions or chiropractor care, or, in Canada, our system is funded a little differently than yours, but at the end of the day, you know what, it's the taxpayers' dollars. So, the working poor, like I call us, right, are really, and it's a system. And again, we won't get into any kind of a political debate, because we'll never solve that here today. But it's a system that's set up to be broken, and it's broken, and it's going to get worse before it gets any better. Like right here in Nova Scotia right now, we can't get family doctors. I mean, that's ludicrous. How does anybody in the health profession turn away somebody in need? But it's happening. They're overworked, again, tired, underpaid, whatever. I mean, I can't speak for physician group, but it is what it is. But again, from a cost perspective, the water, well, number one, the first and foremost, the most important benefit of the water is the drinking, the hydration and, returning to origin and the homeostasis that goes along with it. But there's, it has numerous other things that this machine can do. Again, an eco-friendly home. So you never, ever have to buy another cleaning product to clean your home. There's a cost savings. You can have beauty products. There's another cost savings. I don't know about your life. I know I got 3 girls and they cost me a fortune in skincare and, at the end of the day. So, there's a number of ways to look at it, from a cost savings perspective. And in all honesty, all it takes is to get sick. And money is no object. Because when you're sick, you will find the money somehow to pay for what it is you need. So if you could pay for preventative healthcare, which is what this water is, preventative, you saved it. You don't have to go through. I watched my mother sick. It was terrible. This is the person I looked up to. My dad was sick too, but differently. My mom had more side effects from the chemo, and my dad came around a bit quicker. But I watched her one night. I thought she was going to die right in front of me. And I'm a nurse. I'm supposed to be able to handle this kind of stuff. I couldn't handle it. I had to walk out of the room and call for help. My dad is left with an ailment. Like he has a trach, he has a hole in his throat now. And he is the most, how do I say it? He's a truck driver by trade. So it's a trade that, rough around the edges, the big, but he's the most modest, cleanly, his appearance, and well-spoken, not educated, well-spoken, well-versed, smartest man I know because he reads. And now he's left with that hole in his throat, and that kills him, right? So, I don't know what else to say other than it's a no-brainer. And I think if you can, again, some skepticism is always good because it keeps us guessing and it keeps us on our toes and it keeps a Najik on its toes and, and the Kongan and, reach for the sky. If you can improve things, you improve them. And to be able to share that with the world, like knowing what I know, sitting in my house in little, a province of Nova Scotia, and people don't even know what this is. Like, what the hell? Everybody knows what a cell phone is, though, don't they? Everybody has this flat screen TV in their home. Paid $5,000 for that. There's 60-inch platinum hung on the wall, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, but I think, I think it's just a tip of the iceberg, and this is going to explode, and I hope it explodes for all the right reasons, so people are healthier and happier, and $5,000 is really peanuts.
In the grand scheme of things, $5,000 isn't anything. I always tell people, if I gave you $5,000 today, how quick would you have it spent? How fast would it be gone? And you'd be like, where'd that go? What I did,
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, look at the cost of living today. Where does $5,000 take you today? A trip to Costco, there's $1,000 gone, right? Mortgage, one mortgage payment, vehicle payment, maybe. That's what it might get you, right? So.
Yeah, it's amazing how people think in that regard. And they, I always tell people, when you're talking about something that will last you for the rest of your life if you take care of it, and you'll probably end up having to figure out who you're going to will it to when that
time. Yeah, that's right.
If it lasts you for 50 years, what is that? That's $1 a year, something like that. $10 a year. That's pretty dang cheap.
Yeah.
And, if the thing lasted 2 years, then maybe you might be able to consider it to be expensive. But like we are so fond of talking about, it's about your health. And that brings me to my next question for you. What do you say to that person out there that, because I've heard this way too many times, and it's actually kind of heartbreaking every time I do hear this. And I don't know how often you hear this kind of thing up there in Canada, but down here in America, we have a little bit of a different mindset down here in regards to, if we have our health, we're not worried about it. And for me, back in 1993, I read a book that changed the course of my life. I don't know if you can see that book right there or not. Mm-hmm. But this book right here altered my destiny, literally. It made me start thinking on a proactive thought process. I didn't have any health problems that I realized. That I didn't realize that things like heartburn and stiff joints and things like that were, I thought that was just normal. That's just the way it is, I'm healthy, And I didn't realize, but I started working on a proactive thought process once I read that book, because it really altered everything about the way I thought. And so I've been on that train forever. And I got involved with Kangen water because I just thought it made sense for my health. And I had my health. I've never really had any kind of health problems in my life ever. And there's a lot of people out there, like my friend Ryan and Amy, the nurse that I was telling you about, and her husband. One of the things they said to me is, well, we don't have any health problems. We're not interested. Or on 1 to 10, we're a 0. I'm like, wow. And but what do you say to that when somebody says that? Hey, I don't have any health problems. I don't need that. What's your response?
I agree. So you're saying, in the U.S., that's the mentality, and Canada is no different. Again, people don't react until they have to, and then often when that reaction takes place, it's possibly too late. So, we need to be more preventative. And if something so simple as hydrating your body can cost you or add you or, longevity and feeling well while you're alive, it's one thing to say, well, yeah, I'm 92 years old, but I can't walk. I don't have my mind. I don't have, there's quality and quantity as well, right? So, if you can have both, well, that's the bonus, right? That's like the pie in the sky. And, to drink water is so simple, or would you rather sit down every morning and wash down 25 pills? that just cost you $1,200. You know, that's the way I see it. You know, I don't, in my house, my kids drink nothing but water and milk. I don't bring anything else into my house because nothing else is fit to drink, right? Are we perfect? No. You know, we have an odd cookie or, you know, maybe something that we shouldn't have, but, you know, you have to find some ailments and live and enjoy your life as well, right? But again, you know, while I'm healthy, I don't need that. Well, you might be healthy today, but tomorrow might be singing a different tune. My mom was healthy too until she went to the doctor. Both my parents never had a family doctor. When they got a family doctor, both of them ended up with cancer. I don't know. Is that just, you know, is that just a correlation or hypothetical or a coincidence? I have no idea. At the end of the day, I'm grateful they're both still with us and, you know, and they're back to health and enjoying their lives. Mind you, they had to go through some crap to get to where they are today. And it's hard. It's hard. It takes a toll on a family. Really, truly does. Yeah.
No. Try disease. You think Kong's expensive? Try a disease.
Absolutely.
That, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. You're right. Thankfully, I haven't had to try on disease personally. You know, the worst I've been through, I guess, is 3 births and pregnancies. And, you know, hero. Kong was a woman, remember? So yeah, no, I'm grateful, you know, and I'm fortunate that I'm not sick, but I don't want to get sick either. And so that's why I drink the water, and I want to live long enough to see my grandchildren drink the water.
Yeah.
And, you know, and hopefully, you know, like eco-friendly and we could all do if every household could do their part, stop buying the bottled water and having to worry about recycling those bottles and the plastic bags we have to put them in to get them to the recycling depot and the trucks that have to pick all that up. You know, if you think about it, right, there's so much more involved, you know. So I don't know, maybe we'll all be driving Teslas and that we can plug in and
yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, I love that whole concept, and it's interesting because old Johnny Stevens, he's one of your fellow Canadians who has graced the show in the past, and he put a comment on the live side over on Facebook. He says, I read a good one the other day. People are not living longer, they are dying longer. And one thing that I've been saying for a long time is that most people never really truly live. They're just alive. And there's a big difference between living and being alive. And a lot of these people, like you were talking about, they live to 92, but they have to carry an oxygen bottle around with them everywhere they go. They're in a wheelchair, or they can hardly walk, or they're walking with a walker, and they're taking 20 different medications like my mom was. My mom was dying for the last 10 years of her life, and she developed, she was taking 22 different medications, developed a cyst on the backside of one of her kidneys, poisoned her spinal fluid, turned her into a vegetable, and in 4 days she was gone. And it's still a very difficult thing even after 30 years. I still miss my mom with all my heart. And so it's a big driving factor for me is I don't want to see people go through that. I don't want to see people suffer the way I've suffered because of losing my mom. There's nothing more important in this world than the human mother, in my opinion. That's
I have to agree with you
about it. And I think it's fantastic that you're a mother and you're a healer, and you're one of those kind of people that you're just going to naturally demand respect from most people, and you dang well deserve it because of what you've done. I know that I have tremendous respect for nurses. They are really the salt of the earth, and they mostly are doing a thankless job. But it's really exciting to actually be able to converse with somebody that is in that profession and has seen the value of, doing the most, quite frankly, people ask me what is this Kangen water? And I tell them it's the single most important thing that a human being can do for their body, period. There's nothing
Hey,
more
JJ,
important. What do you say there, Radgar?
what was your age when your mom died?
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. She died in 1990. I was born in 65, so that would have made me, what, 25 years old?
A little older than I was. I was 17 when my mom left.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, losing your mom. And I just want to try and help people so that they can keep their mama more healthy. And, I had a couple of my sisters, my two oldest sisters passed away last year, both pretty much right along with each other, but they were the same as my mom. The last 10 years of their life, they had oxygen in their nose. They were on all kinds of meds. They were miserable. And every time I saw a picture of them, they looked like hell. And they always had that oxygen hose in their nose. And I don't know about you guys, but every time I see somebody with oxygen in their nose, it really just breaks my heart. It really does. It just absolutely hurts.
You're suffering. It's almost like being smothered alive. I would think that's my analogy of it. But you know what? At the end of the day, all we can do, and I think we're doing the greatest good that we can, is trying to inform people. And you can inform the masses in hopes that they make informed decisions and make the right decisions. Some will, and definitely some won't. But that's all we can do.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think we've done a lot, even just sitting here today talking about it. Let's talk about it, right?
The cool thing is we're recording this and it's going to go up onto YouTube, and you're going to get your copy of it, both the Zoom link and the YouTube link, once I get it loaded up there. And so this is going to be something that we can continue to share with people for years and years and years to come. And we just, my thing is I always tell people, you just, please come on the show and share your story, because you just never know whose life you're going to change by simply sharing your story. Because someone might listen to my story and it doesn't even affect them in the least, but then they might hear your story and your story resonates with them, and all of a sudden their life has changed forever. And so that's the whole goal of this, is to try and share as many stories as possible, share as much good, solid information as possible, and then let the chips fall where they may. But I can say I did no less for others, and where that kind of comes from is in that book. At the end of that book, he says, you now have the ability to live in a world without cancer. And the only reason you have that ability is because someone out there somewhere was gracious enough to bring this information to your attention. Can you do any less for others? And I swear that hit me like a ton of bricks, to the point where I eat strangers' apple cores. Whenever I see a person, you'll probably get a kick out of this. I was at the taco joint for taco special day, and I've already ordered, and I'm sitting there waiting for my tacos, and this lady comes walking in and she's eating an apple. She's got her kids with her. She's eating an apple. And I see her eating this apple, and she's doing what pretty much everybody does. 99% of the people in the world, when they eat an apple, they eat all the way around it, and then they get to the core, and they're like, where do I throw this away at? And I'm sitting there looking at her, and I see that she's looking for the garbage. And so I walk over to her, and I says, excuse me, ma'am, you gonna throw that away? And she looks at it and looks at me and looks at it and looks at me and says, yeah. And I says, can I have it? And she goes, she hands it to me. And I go, oh.
Oh, boy.
I jump that baby down, and she's like, ah, what you just did, And, I have a method to the madness of that. And I do that anytime I get a chance. I've done it so many times over the last 27 years, but I got a chance to tell her about that book.
Yeah.
Because of eating her apple core, I got to tell her about the book. and I got to do no less for others. And the reason I like to bring that book up is just because of, not only because of the incredibly important information that's in it, but that book and this company have their roots in the exact same place on this planet, the land of Hunza, the Hunza Koots at the base of the Himalayan mountains in Pakistan. And when I found that out, I was just, I've got to have this. This is it. This is, you know, that whole thing where, you know, that book was such a life changer. And as it turns out, this company is such an incredible life changer. And, you know, so that brings me to my next question that I love to have. This is my favorite question to ask all of the guests, because it's interesting, all the different answers I get to this question. So you are out and about. You're at the grocery store, you're at the auto parts store, whatever. You're somewhere and you've got like 30 seconds to make an impression on somebody as to why, you know, you're trying to turn their light bulb on. Mm-hmm. And you got like 30 seconds, maybe a minute at best. What do you say?
Drink the water.
Drink the water. What kind of a response do you usually get to that?
Well, again, it's why is this water any different than the next Joe Blow, and you know, which I think we've already talked about. But again, to me, it's, you know, if it's just drink the water, man, drink the water. Like, it's not hard. Shit. Yeah. You don't need to be educated. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You don't need to be a doctor or a nurse to drink the water.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that whole concept too. One of my favorite things I ask people is, hey, do you know anybody that drinks water? And I've only, in the last 3 years, almost 3 years now, March 17th will be my 3-year anniversary. I've asked that question to 100 people or more, and I've only had one person say no. He said, no, I don't. And I'm like, what about yourself? No, I don't drink water.
No.
And that was the way I was, to be honest with you. I never drank water. I drink water when I was sick, and I drink water when I was on a river trip. And that's it.
Sadly enough, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't drink water.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not drinking the right water, there's not much point in drinking it.
Yes, that is exactly the truth right there.
Right.
And, you know, what would you say about that? Seems how you just brought that up. Why, from your standpoint, knowing what you know, why Kong? What's the difference between Kong and Essentia, or, you know, Great Value from Wally World? You know, what's the difference?
Kong or Kangen water is it's miracle water. It is the closest thing to the, you know, water running out of the Himalayan mountains. You can't get it any purer. No, we don't make the water. You know, bottled water companies don't make the water either. They make the bottle that the water comes in. They just pour that out of a tap or wherever they get their source from. My source comes from my tap, but it hits the Kangen water machine before it actually gets in my glass. So there's the beauty, right? The technology behind the machine, and we won't get into that because that could take forever to talk about. Not everybody would quite understand it, but basically at the end of the day, it goes through a filtration system, goes through electrodes where it's ionized, then you get into hydrogen and oxygen and the ability to absorb the purest water. Then, you know, you can create a couple of different types of water based on the pH level that you need, depending on what you're doing. And that water then becomes its purest source of pure water. I'm trying to keep it in layman's terms. I don't want to get into technical jargon and whatnot, because then it'll throw people off completely. But you know, if people have more questions, there's lots of information out there. There's loads of information out there. It's overwhelming how much information is out there. And that's why I can't believe how many people don't know about this water. But anyhow, just to go back to your question, to have, you know, to have the purest form, like, I mean, you drink this water, it's like silk. You can see it, it bubbles. So that's the hydrogen in the water. And that's what our cells want it, and they're pulling on it, and they're saying, give it to me. And it goes to all of our cells, our brain, and all our vital organs, which need the water. 75% of us are water, and no different than when you get in your shower. I mean, what's coming out of that tap? I don't know what's in that water. Chlorine, lead, fluoride, who the hell knows? Unless it's being tested on a regular basis, nobody truly knows what's coming out of that water. And our skin and our body, we're in showers, and we're absorbing all those chemicals and toxins that are in that water. You know, and again, Enagic has a great solution for that as well, right? They have the Enespa, so that's just another one. I'll throw that in there. So again, you can make an informed decision. But truly, drink the water, people. Drink the water.
Yeah, you know, it's like there's another awesome book out there. I'd imagine you've probably heard of it by now. It's called Killing Cancer, Not People.
Yep.
Written by Bob Wright. And, you know, he lost both of his parents to cancer, and that prompted him to do what he does. But he has an entire chapter in that book about nothing but chlorine and fluoride, and the fact that those are in our water supply. I call it legalized genocide, because that's what it is. The fact that they put chlorine and fluoride in our water, which is completely unnecessary, and he documents it in that chapter. He talks about the different things that they could put in the water that would do the same thing that chlorine does to, you know, to not purify the water, but to kill any contaminants or whatever. But it's not even necessary, and it's so bad for the human body to be drinking. It's actually worse to take a hot shower in chlorinated and fluoridated water than it is to drink it, because it goes in as a steam, as a vapor, and it goes directly into your lungs where you've got millions of capillaries, and so it just literally goes right into your bloodstream. And where when you're drinking it, it has to go through your digestive system before it gets to your blood, and so a lot of it gets filtered out. But yeah, it's so interesting how these kinds of things are being put upon us, and you know, we need to protect ourselves against that kind of thing. And
such an easy solution, right?
Yeah.
But we as humans, we don't look for the easy road, do we? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Sam Tran.
All I know is that you and I are in good hands as long as we keep drinking the water.
Yeah.
What anybody else decides to do, that's up to them. We
Yeah.
can't convince people. We can only inform them.
And that's the cool thing, is there's a lot of information out there that people can get. And, you know, that all this kind of leads me to ultimately what, you know, my first goal with this is to share stories. My second goal of this is to resonate, to join people together who resonate with each other. Because somebody might have watched several issues of this show or episodes of this show, and none of it really sparked the old brain cell into motion. But you never know who, and I always say that, you never know whose story is going to change whose life. And so one of the things that I like to give all the guests an opportunity to do at the, you know, as we get close to closing the show down, is somebody's watching this episode 6 months from now, and all of a sudden they're like, this Shelley gal, I need to hook up with her. This is completely up to you, whatever you would like to give away, if nothing or if everything, whatever you want to give out. I always encourage everybody to give all their contact information out, how people can get a hold of you, whether it be Facebook, internet pages, Instagram, whatever, phone numbers, emails, whatever you would like to give away that people can get a hold of you if they resonate with you and your thing. And they're like, you know, this is just the kind of gal I want to work with. And for me, the reason I like to give everybody this opportunity is because I don't care where people get this machine from. If they get it from me, great, fantastic. If they get it from you, great. I don't care who they get it from. Just get it. Get the machine. And I believe that in the long run, plenty of people are going to they're going to choose to get their machine from me. That's fine. But my main thing is I want people to get the machine, and I don't really care where they get it from. And so the only way somebody can get a machine from you or get an Anespa or Ukon from you and learn about it if they want to work with you is if you tell them how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, no, I'm like you. I really don't care where people get their machines from. You know, again, get the machine. And if you want to be a part of my team and you want to work with me and I can help you, you'll find me.
So how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. My email is Shelley, SHELLEY, LUSH @hotmail.com. Fire me off a message.
Perfect. Now, if somebody, I want to just throw this little caveat out there for anybody that decides to send Shelley a message on Facebook and a friend request. Do her the common courtesy of telling her why you're sending her a friend request and how you found her. And, you know, send her a message that goes along with that friend request that says, hey, blah, 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 blah. Don't just send her a friend request, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there on Facebook. And, you know, as for me, I never just automatically accept a friend request from somebody that I don't know.
No,
I have to reach out to them and ask them why they sent me a friend request, what they want, who they are. I have to go through their profile and see who they are and all that kind of stuff before I'm clicking accept.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So if you really want to be friends with Shelley, do yourself a favor, do her a favor, give her the information, you know, tell her why. And you guys can find her and hook up with her and, you know, get to work changing the world, because that's what we're doing here. We are the Con family and we're here to change the world. And, but I want to ask you one last question, and it's not really a question. It's more of just a, do you have any last pieces of information, one last golden nugget per se that you would like to drop on the audience, that, you know, maybe something from your heart or whatever that you know, one last thing that you'd like to leave us with?
I guess, you know, the last thing I'd like to say is, you know, people, like, just do yourselves a favor. If anything, if you're not going to buy a machine, just do me a favor and research it. Inform yourself, get to know the product, and not even the product, get to know what your body is all about, what health is all about, the physiological aspects and how the body works. Understand it. Most people don't understand any of it, and nor do they care, but we should care. It's important. And there's lots of things we can do, lots of things that we, you know, like little old me and little old you, one person at a time. It's all it takes. And we should be able to voice that, and you should be able to, you know, feel free about how you feel and talk about it. And again, if you want to reach out to me and not to buy a Kangen water machine, or, you know, and you just want to chat and say, hey, you know, my story's a lot like yours. How'd you deal with it? How'd you cope? This is what it's all about. It's about helping people. And man, I'm telling you, I can't stress enough how this company, and I can't say any other company wouldn't have done the same thing, but this company has changed my life drastically. Like, you talk about personal, you know, development. And so through this journey, the last 3 months, and I've been fortunate because I've had a lot of time to put into my business and my personal growth, okay? It's like when I became a nurse. Well, you know what? I signed up for that. I paid my tuition. I went to university for 4 years, and I knew once I put in the hard work, I was going to become a nurse. Well, what I'm doing right now is hard work as well, but it comes from the heart. So it's that much easier, and it's that much more rewarding, you know. And I read and I'm still reading, and I continue to go back and read it because it's an easy read. And I'm not a reader. I hate reading. Okay, I haven't read a book since university. All right, but I've tackled 2 in the last 3 months, and self-help books and personal growth, and the book Magic. You have to read it. It's a life changer. It's about gratitude, the positive mindset, the power of attraction, sprinkling your pixie dust. I'll tell you a funny little story. I sent my daughter off. Both my oldest girls played competitive hockey. So, that gets a little pricey, right? Anyway, that's a side note. But I sent her off to hockey, and so she plays defense, right? And mom's always like, yeah, you should play forward. Come on, boy. Score some goals, right? No, I don't like forward, and she's kind of a laid back little girl and easygoing, and okay, don't play forward, play defense. I said, but just score mom a goal today. Yeah, okay. It's the same conversation we have every day, right? So as she's getting out of the car, I go like this to her. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm spreading magic. And I'd be gosh darn it if she didn't score a goal that night. That's the truth. First one she scored, and it might be the last one, but you know what? It's one that I will always remember. And, that positive mindset. And, people that got skeptics, right? Listen to 2 of them now. They're not full of you-know-what, right? And I was that person, too. And I thought, these people are nuts. Like, come on. Who got time to sit around and read books about self-help? And, am I losing my mind here that I got to resort to, but just do me a favor. Get yourself the book Magic, or any other self-help book, because there's so many of them. There's lots of them, and they're great. And spend 10 minutes a day reading, a half an hour at bedtime. And boy, I tell you, it's a life changer. It's been a life changer for me. And you know what? If I never ever make a dime doing what I'm doing today, I still got no regrets.
Yeah.
I'll go back. I'll be a nurse. I'll continue to be a nurse, which is what I'm good at, and it's what I've known. It shapes me. It shapes my life. It shapes my future. It is who I am, and I'll help people that way. But the difference in helping people that way, from a medical perspective, is again, it's being reactive versus being preventative. And and I help people in a number of different ways other than giving them medication. I hold their hand, I listen to their stories. Sometimes all people want to do is, they need an ear. You listen. And I tell you, and you know what I truly love are older people. Because with older people, you can say hello, how's your day? And there's no agenda attached to that. I go to the gym, right? And I want to go, they look like they're concerned about their health. They're in good shape. And I wonder, do they know what Kangen water is all about? So you want to have a chat with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, nah, they'll probably think there's an agenda attached to that.
You know what's fun? I gotta tell you one of my favorite things to do. In fact, I'm going to tell you 2 of my favorite things to do, because I'll bet you'll love doing this, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. Whenever I see an old couple that obviously clearly they're in their 70s or 80s or 90s or whatever, and I see them, I always love walking up to them and going, hey, how you kids doing today? And it is so fun. I mean, I have literally had old couples like start giggling and blushing, and
yeah.
and I've had them tell me, that just absolutely made our day. And
That's awesome.
I've ended up doing that and starting out these big conversations with these people and just literally making their day. And having them just be so grateful that some guy like me is willing to start up a conversation with them. And that's one of my favorite ways to start up a conversation with old people, because I really do love old people too. And and then my other favorite thing to do, that you'll probably get a kick out of this too, is whenever I'm going into one of those stores that has those automatic opening doors.
Yeah.
And it's even especially fun if they've got two of them, you know, because sometimes there's the automatic door on the outside, and then you walk 10 feet and there's another automatic door in there.
Right.
And whenever I'm going into a place like that, I always try to look around me and see who's coming in. And like, there's nothing to me that's more fun and more powerful than this right here. You see somebody walking in, and they're walking in all glum looking. Like, you can tell that they're just not in a good mood.
Yeah.
And they're walking into the store, and you're having an opportunity, and I'll either like speed up a little bit or slow down a little bit so that I get to that door just before they do. And then when I get to that door, I stop and I go like this. I go, "Hey, let me get that door for you." And the door comes opening up, and they start laughing. And if there's a second door, they always say, "Thank you so much." And they walk into the next door, and they stop and they go, "Hey, let me return the favor." And then we end up walking into the store, both with smiles on our faces and you know, enjoying a little bit of a conversation, you know, "Hey, have a great day," that kind of thing. But it's so interesting to see somebody go from, "Hey, yeah, oh, great, thank you," you know.
Again, something so simple as that, right? Is just set the stage for you to have a great day, and that other individual is going to have a great day. And chances are that those positive vibes are just going to spread throughout the day, right? I don't know. We live in a society and a world today, you know, everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's got somewhere to go, somewhere to be. Man, it's just like, slow the hell down.
Yeah.
Smile, you know, look around, smell the fresh air. Don't drink the acid rain, and don't drink the bottled water.
Amen. Oh, I love it. I love it. Shelley,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on today and gracing the Kong family with your wisdom and with your knowledge. And we're just so happy to have you here. And I look forward to following your story, following your journey. If there's ever anything I can help you with, do not hesitate to reach out. If there's ever anybody that you would like to try and get them on the Kong family show that you think would be good guests that have a great story to tell. Because one thing about it is we can't tell other people's stories. We have to tell our own. We're only allowed to tell our own stories. And, you know, we obviously can't make any kind of health claims or anything like that. And the simple truth of the matter is that Kong and water, it doesn't heal or cure anything. What does the healing and the curing is your body, your machine. This thing right here that God gave us, it's so amazing, and it's amazing what it can do if you simply give it what it needs to do its job. And you know, so that's what we are all about here at the Kong family. We want to change the world. What do you got there, Rodgar?
I would say a thing about smiling and be happy. Like, that's totally true. Our society is all serious, dead serious, and they already have to be there where they go. Already have to be there yesterday, and it always reminds me when I'm going to my mission trips, and then there you see poor people. They already know you over years that you're coming back year after year, and they're smiling. They don't have anything to eat or whatever, but they're smiling. They're pretty poor, but they're smiling, and that smiling, that's missing in our society. That's a big thing.
Yeah, amen, brother. Amen. Yeah, you are to be commended tremendously for what you're doing down there in those places. And you know, the next time you go down there, you got to come on the show while you're down there. That'll be kind of fun. And because
That's no problem. We
we
can
love
do
to
that.
talk, yeah, all kinds of different topics, all kinds of different things that, you know, we don't always talk about Kong's water on the Kong family show, but you know, we're always trying to bring value and bring some light to people's lives to help change the world. You know, we're doing it one glass of hydrogen rich, oxygen saturated, incredibly hydrating Kangen water at a time, one lightning bolt the box, one incredible guest, one amazing family at a time. And you know, Shelley, I got one thing I need to tell you though.
What's that?
The little lady in the box, the beautiful little angel that is Kong,
Yeah.
she says, Kangen water, 9.5. Kangen water, 8.5. She doesn't say Kangen water. Kangen water. 'Cause I always tell people if she said Kangen water, Kong wouldn't even exist. That big gorilla, he wouldn't even exist. I would have never come up with that big gorilla as my mascot. But anyway, you know, I love you so much, and I appreciate everything that you're doing out there to help change the world with us. And I'm so grateful that you came on the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I would love to have you back on anytime if you ever decide you've got something you want to share. We're here to help you share it. If you have any of your people that you think would have good stories, you know, and I don't know whether you'd be willing to reach out to your chiropractor and maybe hook us up. I'd sure love to get a chiropractor on this show at some point. And, you know, if they're willing to come, and I would imagine your chiropractor has a heck of a story to tell that could really change somebody's life for the better. And whenever you can get people of that kind of stature to come on and share, it tends to have a little bit more power than just a little old, you know, little old me, or, you know, little old Rodgar. Rodgar's up there in Canada, up in your neck of the woods too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
You guys never know. You guys...
Kangen.
That's Kong.
Yeah, Kong. Okay, Kong.
Have yourself an awesome day, honey. Get out there, change the world, starting with your own. And of course, do not forget your hugs. If you can't get a hug from someone else, you got to give yourself one. And don't forget your hugs.
Thanks
All right,
again.
kids. Love you guys. Make it a great day. Talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Woody-hoo.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. See you later, brother. See you tomorrow.
You bet. Have a great day.